welcome to this deep dive. We're digging into the material you shared, focusing today on something pretty rare, cosmically speaking.
Yeah, it's the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune, and it's happening in Aries.
And rare is kind of an understatement, isn't it? How often does this specific alignment happen?
Roughly every 320 years. So, yeah, quite significant. The last time this happened was way back in 1702.
1702, wow. Just think about the world then. And this current one, it starts around May 25th, 2025, next year.
That's right. And its main influence is expected to last through until spring 2026.
Okay, so our mission here is to really unpack what this could mean based on the info provided. Let's start with that historical context. 1702, what was the vibe back then?
Well, the sources point to 1702 being a period of really big social and political change, especially in Europe.
Right.
You had the Great Northern War going on, which was, fundamentally changing the power dynamics up there.
Sifting the old structures, creating new ones, and Russia was right in the thick of it.
Absolutely. Tsar Peter the Great was pushing hard for modernization, looking west, making huge reforms, a real transformation.
Okay, so big changes in Russia. But it wasn't just contained there, right?
Yeah.
Further south.
No, exactly. You also had the War of the Spanish Succession kicking off, involving pretty much all the major European powers.
So a lot of conflict, a lot of reshaping the map, basically.
Definitely a very dynamic, if turbulent, time on the world stage.
And the sources also mention things happening in science and philosophy around then, too.
Yeah, what's really interesting is Isaac Newton. His work on optics was becoming prominent right around 1702.
Ah, Newton. Understanding light and color.
Exactly. A massive shift in how people understood the physical world. A real, paradigm shift moment.
Definitely. And culturally,
Yeah.
artistically. What was the feeling then?
The dominant style was Baroque. Think dramatic, emotional, lots of grandeur, often focused on spiritual themes. Big impact.
Okay, now, here's something fascinating. Neptune, the planet itself, wasn't actually discovered yet in 1702, was it?
That's a key point. Astronomers didn't spot it until much later, but from an astrological perspective, the idea is that its energy was still active.
How does that work?
Think of it like gravity before Newton explained it. The force was there, affecting things, even if people didn't have a scientific label or full understanding yet. Neptune's influence was shaping the collective, the background current.
Okay, that makes sense, like feeling the wind. So even without the name, that Neptunian vibe of, say, dissolution or ideals was present.
Precisely. And if you look at the period after 1702, the sources suggest you see this gradual sort of dissolving of old structures.
Like feudalism slowly breaking down.
Exactly that kind of thing. Not overnight, but a steady emergence of new ways of thinking, new societal forms. It fits that Neptunian theme of subtle, long-term transformation.
Got it. Okay, that's really helpful context.
Yeah.
So let's bring it to our time, this upcoming conjunction. The sources highlight three main aspects. First up, the clash of reality and ideals. What's that about?
Okay, so this is where Saturn meets Neptune. Saturn represents, reality, structure, limitations, what we perceive through our senses, tangible stuff.
The hard facts.
Right. And Neptune symbolizes our ideals, our visions, spirituality, maybe even a sense of absolute truth beyond the material.
So when they come together in conjunction, friction.
Potential friction, yeah. Or maybe a potent blend. The core idea is that it forces us to look at what we believe versus what might be objectively true.
So moments of uncertainty, where our view of reality gets shaky.
Could be. It's a push to question assumptions, things we've accepted maybe without really examining them in science, society, our personal lives.
Taking out the rose-colored glasses, as the material puts it.
Exactly that. It's an invitation to see beyond illusions, to get more real, more authentic. The goal isn't just tearing things down, but aligning our perceived reality with a deeper truth.
How does that help?
It can make life feel stronger, more genuine. It might mean letting go of old thought patterns, things we learned that maybe aren't serving us anymore, and opening up to, a deeper understanding.
Okay, a reality check, combined with spiritual insight, perhaps. What's the second key aspect? Matter and dissolution.
Right. So again, Saturn is matter, the tangible things we build. Neptune is the principle of dissolution, of things breaking down, transforming, becoming less solid.
Like water dissolving salt.
Kind of, yeah. So the suggestion is we might see a gradual dissolving of structures that are outdated in our own lives, but also maybe in wider social or economic systems.
Things that have run their course.
Exactly. Things that maybe aren't useful anymore start to fade, which importantly creates space for something new.
That could feel unsettling, though, right? Losing familiar ground.
Oh, definitely. It can trigger insecurity when material certainties shift. But the flip side is that it opens up new possibilities.
And the sources emphasize Neptune's style here is different from other planets.
Yeah, they contrast it with, say, Uranus, which can bring sudden shocks, or Pluto, which is more about intense, deep transformation, sometimes destruction and rebirth. Neptune is gentler, more subtle.
Like a slow tide wearing away the shore.
That's a good image, a gradual dissolving, creating space bit by bit. It's not abrupt.
And that connects back to the post-1702 period again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That slow breakdown of feudalism.
It does. It suggests this might be a long-term shift we're entering, maybe moving away from a purely materialistic view towards something more, I don't know, holistic or spiritual, perhaps.
Interesting. Okay, third key aspect, guilt and liberation. This sounds personal.
Very personal, yes, but also collective. The idea is this conjunction can really bring deep-seated feelings of guilt up to the surface.
What kind of guilt are we talking about?
The sources mention two main types. One is guilt just for being who you are, like your authentic self feels somehow wrong.
Wow. That sounds heavy. Where did that come from?
Often from early life, maybe not feeling accepted or validated for who you genuinely were. You might learn to suppress parts of yourself and feel guilty when they surface.
I see. And the other type?
Guilt for existing, almost, or feeling responsible for other people's problems or misfortunes.
Like carrying the weight of the world.
Sort of, yeah. This can often link back to childhood attachment issues. If a child's needs aren't met, they might internalize it as, I must be bad, or it's my fault. That belief can stick around.
And how does this conjunction help with liberation from that?
Well, first, bringing it to light is huge, but it's happening in Aries, and Aries is all about new beginnings, courage, pioneering spirit, the right to be oneself.
So Aries energy gives the push to break free.
Exactly. You have Neptune potentially dissolving these old, ingrained guilt patterns, Saturn helping structure a new sense of self-worth and responsibility, and Aries providing the courage and impetus to say, okay, I can be me without this burden.
It's like a cosmic permission slip combined with a restructuring plan.
That's a great way to put it. And again, think back to post-1702. Old power structures breaking down, new scientific ideas challenging old beliefs, new art forms emerging. It reflects a shift in consciousness.
So just like society shifted then, maybe we're getting a chance for a personal consciousness shift now, away from that limiting guilt.
That's the potential, yes. Bringing that subconscious stuff into the light, especially with the Aries go for its energy, offers a really potent window to dismantle those limiting beliefs.
It's not just about big world changes then. It's deeply individual too, a chance to shed that unnecessary weight.
Absolutely. To live more authentically, aligned with your own truth, free from guilt that isn't yours to carry.
This is powerful stuff. So how do we actually work with this energy? The sources gave some practical tips, didn't they?
They did. First one. Consciously look at your perception of reality. Be open to new info, question your assumptions, try to see what's really real for you versus just, learned beliefs or illusions.
Like a mental spring clean.
Kind of, yeah. Second, try to release attachment to purely material certainties. Build your inner stability, maybe explore your spirituality more so your security isn't just tied to external stuff.
Finding that anchor inside. Makes sense. What else?
Third, actively work on liberating yourself from guilt. Really internalize that you're not responsible for others' happiness. You have a right to be you. Forgive yourself for past mistakes, accept imperfection.
That sounds like ongoing work for most people.
It often is, but this alignment could really boost that process. Fourth tip, consciously create your new normal.
Meaning?
Define what an authentic, guilt-free life looks like for you. Visualize it. What would you do? How would you feel if those limiting beliefs just weren't there anymore?
Okay, setting an intention, a vision, and lastly, tapping into Aries.
Yeah, use that energy. Start something new. Take courageous steps, even small ones, towards the life you actually want. Act on that impulse towards authenticity. Aries is about action.
So it's a mix of inner work reflection, releasing and outer action, fueled by this unique cosmic timing.
Exactly. It's about engaging consciously with what's happening astrologically to help yourself evolve.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. This Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, it's clearly a big deal astrologically, a rare chance for potentially deep transformation.
Yeah, the information really stresses its potential for reevaluating beliefs, letting go of old structures, both personal and maybe societal, and dealing with that deep-seated guilt.
And those historical echoes from 1702 are pretty compelling. They suggest significant shifts could be underway even if they take time to fully play out.
Definitely. And remembering Neptune's gentle, gradual style combined with Saturn's structure, it's not necessarily about chaos, more like a guided, unfolding transformation.
Right. And we have time. It lasts until spring 2026.
Yes, that gives space for integration. It's not a flash in the pan. We can adapt gradually.
So the takeaway seems to be, stay open, listen to your intuition, maybe make changes step by step authentically.
Precisely. It's an invitation, really, to deeper self-awareness and conscious growth.
This has been incredibly insightful, really makes you consider these bigger cycles. So maybe a final thought for you listening, reflecting on this, once in 320-year opportunity. What specific parts of your life are you feeling maybe nudged to re-examine or perhaps even release, something to ponder? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.